Welcome back to Falcon Update here on YBTV. I'm Rosie Schiano.
And I'm Emma Dingus. We have a great show for you tonight. If you remember Daniel's campus calendar last week, she discussed Hong Kuo exhibition. Reed Milliken will join us for a live shot from this exhibition later on. But first, let's see what we covered this week.
On Wednesday, Campus Ministries marked the beginning of Lent with their annual Ash Wednesday chapel service in Hossiter Chapel. Throughout the service, students and faculty were exposed to a Catholic liturgy that improved scripture readings, hymn singings, and the spreading of ashes. Towards the end of the service, Campus Ministries gave attendees a chance to mark their foreheads with an ash cross.
The Asian Student Association held their annual Lunar New Year celebration in the Union. Caleb Wiegers has the story.
Today we have the Lunar New Year / Chinese New Year event going on. It's one of our biggest events for the spring semester, and it's basically a time to celebrate the Lunar New Year, which is following the new year of like the lunar cycle. We actually brought a dance troupe from the Harrisburg area to come do line dances, and they're super, super dope. And all these decorations that you see, we did it all ourselves. One of the biggest takeaways that we really want people to come out with is just to celebrate times with friends and family, because that's what the Lunar New Year is all about, is coming together, meeting your friends who you haven't seen in a long time, going home, being with family and friends, and just having a good time. We just really hope that everyone who comes gets to experience some of the Asian culture, East Asian, Southeast Asian culture, and really get to celebrate the New Year with us. 新年快乐!
The Akaba Art Gallery in Kleiman-Hega hosts exhibits all year round, with the current exhibition featuring the art of Hong Hua. Hua, Messiah's own assistant professor of graphic design and digital media, debuted her new digital and interactive exhibit in the Glass Gallery, titled In Conversation, this past month, and it's a combination between digital and physical pieces that is open free to visit from the public daily from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Reed Milliken is live from Ahimba now to speak to Hong Kuo in the exhibit. Reed?
Hi, thank you, Emma, Rosie. Thank you so much. I'm Reed Milliken. I'm outside the Glass Gallery, actually. Ahimba is just downstairs below us, but I'm here with Hong. Hong, please tell us a little bit about this exhibit that's behind us. How many pieces make up this exhibit?
Yeah, thanks for asking. And there are a total of 3 pieces. So the first one you can see is on the glass wall, which is the piece called In Conversation, which kind of like light up the piece because the inside is very dark. So this is the interactive piece where there's instructions. So the viewers can participate standing each side of the glass wall and then write in the asthmatic style where they're clearly instructed they cannot write or speak any legible forms. So it's just this kind of like abstract mark making, trying to have a conversation in this particular form. And then inside there is 2 pieces, and the first one is the one in the monitor, which is a recorded kind of like a interview style of me talking, but without any audio element, and all the information the audience could rely on to understand the piece was the transcript, which is also wrong intentionally. So again, is the exhibition is about this inefficient communication, and the piece in the projection is actually a manifesto I wrote in English and also in Mandarin Chinese. And they're just kind of like appearing and disappearing all at once, not intentionally, not being legible to the viewer.
Awesome, yeah, thank you. And so behind us, there's a couple different mediums to this exhibit. We've got the writing on the glass, we've got some footage being played on the TV, we have the projector. Can you talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to take a multimedia approach?
That is a really great question. So I definitely came from an interdisciplinary kind of like practice of animation, digital media, and also painting and drawing. So I don't feel totally satisfied, but with just one medium of expression. So I wanted to kind of have this conversation about what is the most efficient or inefficient way of communication, including our written language and also our current technology, especially with this filter of digital media, how we tend to kind of like create a certain performance to communicate. After the communication is done, filtered by the digital tools or media, the meanings were constantly misinterpreted by the different viewers, especially by their own perspective and experiences.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Hong. It was a pleasure to be able to talk to you, get a little bit more information about this exhibit behind me. But for now, we're going to send it back to Rosie and Emma at the desk.
Thanks, Reed. It's always incredible to see those exhibits. Messiah has some truly talented artists, Rosie.
I agree, Emma. After the break, Sadie McFarland brings us the latest on this week's campus calendar, and Jessica Fannin will be sitting down with film professor Michelle Weingardner to discuss her time as a documentary filmmaker. Stay tuned.
When I visited Messiah, I loved the community here, and it made me feel really welcome, and the applied health science major was the perfect fit for what I wanted to study.
We're training students at Messiah to be leaders in the allied health professions. They're going to make an incredible impact on the health of others all over the world. Our students can choose concentrations in pre-professional, pre-physical and occupational therapy, pre-athletic training, and in exercise science.
I did an internship where I was able to shadow some strength and conditioning sessions with our men's soccer team, and that was really a meaningful experience for me to apply what I know.
All of the professors I had were really focused on integrating Christ into what we did in the classroom and reminded us of the way that God created us and how we can see that in other people as we go on from here.
And then we also teach them ways to interact with their future clients, patients, athletes in ways that not only are focused on writing effective prescription or rehabilitation, but really seek to support people in their journey, mind, body, and spirit.
In my senior seminar class, we have had the opportunity to work with a client as a conditioning consultant, and I've found this experience really valuable because I've been able to put into practice what I've learned into class into a practical situation.
Our students have a real advantage. In many cases, they've had additional training above and beyond what's necessary to gain entry into graduate programs.
So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that this program has offered me.
Welcome back to Falcon Update. I'm Rosie Schiano.
And I'm Emma Dingus. Rosie, how do you feel about all the snow that we've been getting?
Emma, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I have two feelings that I experience when it snows. If I wake up and it's snowy outside, the trees are covered, everything's covered, and there's an email in my inbox that says classes canceled, campus closed, I love the snow. The snow could not be better. Oh my gosh, me and the snow, perfect, okay? But if I wake up and it's windy and it's snowy and it's icy and it's just cold, like straight up cold, and there's no email in my inbox that states that campus is closed, I'm miserable. What about you, Emma?
I feel the same way. I think that if it's a snow, it needs to be a good snow. I need to be able to go sledding on Cemetery Hill or, you know, cozy up with a nice book.
Yes.
I can't have the miserable cold like you're talking about.
No.
But snow is upon us once again this week at Messiah. Let's see if Charlie Jones's forecast has any more in our future. Charlie?
Thanks, Emma. And you're absolutely right. It was a bit of a cold one on Saturday, but things are warming up. Looking at the forecast for right now, we're sitting at a nice 38, which is better than the 36 high of Saturday. We saw a high today of 44, and later on we'll be dipping into a bit of a low at 21 degrees. Looking at tomorrow, our Tuesday planner here, starting off in the morning, we've got, it's cooler temperatures at 23, but as we go through the day, it warms up. But we're going to see some clouds coming in around 3 p.m. That will dissipate a bit, and there will be a small bit of cloud coverage into the night, into the evening. Looking here at our surface map, we've got this high pressure system up here, right, and that is pushing this cold front right here down and out into the towards us in Pennsylvania here, especially right here in Grantham, and it will be blowing right past us or over us, I should say, and off to the coast. Moving on, looking at our dew points for this week, you can see temperatures will be rising slightly as we go throughout the week, and that is reflected in these dew points here. So luckily, not too much dew on the ground to be expected for Monday and Tuesday, but as we go throughout the week, the ground will be getting a little bit wetter. Looking at the rest of the week, we have our 7-day forecast. As you can see, starting on Tuesday, we're going to see temperatures moving up as we go through, and we're also going to see more and more cloud coverage as we get further and further into the week. On Thursday, we've got about a 60% chance of precipitation. That is only getting more and more certain as that cold front moves in, and that will carry into Friday. We might see some small showers on Saturday morning, but for the rest of the weekend, there will just be a good bit of cloud coverage, although we'll see the sun poking out a bit more on Sunday, and then it's back to cloudy and warm on Monday with a high of 55 degrees. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Charlie. Emma, what does a duck eat with its soup?
I don't know, Rosie. What does it?
Quackers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know.
That was a good one, Rosie.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it's
you,
kind
Emma.
of ironic you said that because Danielle Leopard asked Messiah students what their favorite dad joke was on this week's Falcon on the Street.
Welcome back to this week's Falcon on the Street. Today we're going to find out who can tell the best dad joke.
So my best dad joke is, what do you call a piece of spaghetti that lies about its identity? An impasta.
So why don't eggs tell jokes? They might crack up.
Why didn't the bike stand up by itself? Because he was too tired.
What type of bear is toothless? Gummy bear. I only know 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why.
I don't trust theirs. They're always up to something.
Why was the baby strawberry crying? Because their mother was in a jam.
Why can't a nose be 12 inches long? Because then it would be called a foot.
How does the moon cut his hair? Eclipse it.
Well, that was great, guys. That's all we have for today. For YBTV, I'm Danielle Leopard.
Thanks, Danielle. There are a plethora of events going on this week at Messiah. Here's Sadie McFarland with more on this week's campus calendar.
Good evening, Messiah University. My name is Sadie McFarland, and I'm coming to you with this week's campus calendar. Here's what's popping on campus. On Tuesday, Messiah University will have an in-service day, meaning there'll be no classes or chapel for students. Take this time to rest, study, or take time with friends. Enjoy your day off. And on Wednesday, the Career and Professional Development Center is having their Into the City info session for Into the City Philadelphia. The session is from 12 to 1 p.m. in Palmer Cinema. Pizza is provided. Students are encouraged to register in the Handshake app before the event. And on Friday, the Sign Language Club here at Messiah will host their beginner's dinner from 6 to 7 p.m. in Fry Room 141. Pizza and conversation will be provided. This is a fun environment perfect for practicing your ASL skills. That's the scoop for this week's campus calendar. I hope to see you all at some of these events. Happy President's Day and God bless America. For YBTV, I'm Sadie McFarland.
Thanks, Sadie. Jessica Fannin had the opportunity to sit down with Messiah's film professor, Michelle Weingardner, to discuss her time as a film documentary maker for this week's Beyond the Breeches.
Hello, and welcome to Beyond the Breeches. This week, Michelle Weingardner, a Messiah University professor, has invited us into her home. She is going to let us in on a little bit of her story and how water has had a huge impact on her life. Let's see what's in store.
Hi, I'm Michelle Weingardner. I'm an adjunct professor of filmmaking at Messiah University. I started teaching there several years ago when they needed a professor for COM 105. I'm super passionate about the ocean. My grandfather and my father were in the Navy, so of course, I ended up following what they were doing because when you're in the Navy, you're never far from the ocean. So we lived in Southern California. My father was stationed there, and we lived about a block from the beach. So I was sailing. I was racing sailboats. Of course, we were always swimming and doing ocean swims and things like that. There came a time in my life where I couldn't do that any longer and I needed to go further. So I joined the Navy and I got to see the world.
Some of Professor Weingartner's fondest memories are getting to jump off the ship without any land in sight and all the different countries she saw, from Norway to the southern coast of Latin America. On these trips, she would sometimes see things like water tornadoes and 18-foot waves. She says that water has always been a huge part of her life.
If I dive into the ocean, it's always the same feeling, always. I feel like I've been to a therapist, like all my problems are solved.
That's all for this week's Beyond the Breeches. For YBTV, I'm Jessica Fannin.
Thanks, Jessica. After the break, we have Caleb Kukin and Ethan Gregory with YBTV Sports, including our very first feature on Messiah women's basketball forward, Liv Montero. Stay tuned.
Higher education is in deep need of bright, caring, and capable students, people who desire to effect positive change, who lead out of their core values and their identity in Christ. And at Messiah's program, we take seriously the calling to equip students to do just that.
Our graduate program has two pathways that we focus on. One is a degree in higher education with concentration areas, and the other is the degree in intercollegiate athletic leadership.
The online courses in the program made it really flexible. As a working professional, it was easy to stay on top of my coursework. I feel like the online environment didn't detract any from that personal experience I was able to get in the program.
I didn't just want a degree that was a piece of paper and something to put next to my name. I wanted a degree program that was going to challenge me and push me to grow not only as a coach and possible future administrator, but also as a servant of Christ.
What greatly appealed to me was that I wouldn't feel like a number, and so going throughout the entire program, I just feel like I left knowing my classmates so well, I knew faculty members so well, and built connections that I will continue to use throughout my professional and personal life.
I've always had a strong love of the business world, but I always wanted to keep on growing my faith. And what Messiah helped me do was pair my faith with business so I could be a Christian in the workplace. The professors were role models of how to do that. What I learned in class taught me the interpersonal skills and the hard skills. Take two things that I loved, my faith and business, and pair that together moving forward.
Absolutely filthy goal there. Boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome to another week of YBTV Sports. I'm Ethan Gregory.
And I'm Caleb Kukin. Ethan, it's an exciting time of year as we're starting to see all of our winter sports kind of wrap up and our spring sports are now beginning.
That's right. One team that wrapped up their season nicely was the women's swim team, as they captured their 10th MAG title in 11 years. Evangeline Sworns won MAG Swimmer of the Year, and first-year head coach Joshua Clark won Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and men's volleyball looked dominant on Wednesday as they swept Penn State Altoona 3-0. Ryan Givens led the way with 15 kills, and Noah Ardos finished with 22 assists. The team also traveled to Ohio this past weekend for 2 Saturday matches. Falcons won their first game and dropped game 2. They play at Eastern tomorrow.
Awesome. Men's track competed at Penn State and Bucknell on Saturday, highlighted by all-time top 10 performances in the 800-meter, mile, and weight throw. The women's team competed at Bucknell as well, as they did very good. despite many of their top runners resting for the MAC Indoor Championships this weekend.
Men's baseball started their season with a series down in Fayetteville, North Carolina against Methodist University. Falcons took game 1 4-3 and split the doubleheader on Saturday. The team travels down to Georgia next weekend for a series against Covenant College.
Cool beans. You were right about it being an exciting time for sports, so let's keep it going with Falcon 4.
On Saturday, Messiah Wrestling took on TCNJ. It was a tough match for the Falcons facing the number 13 team in the country, but Josiah Gare was able to get some points on the board for the Falcons with this impressive pin. So we see Josiah Gare in a battle here, gets a headlock, and watch this takedown. Just drives his head to the mat and is able to hang on for the pin right there. So Josiah Gare gets the Falcons on the board, and we'll see it again. Here's the takedown. Yeah, just drives that head down and then just hangs on for dear life as he's able to secure the Falcons' only points of the match as they earned this win against the Lions. This match officially wraps up the regular season, and all that's left for wrestling is NCAA's as they finish their season with a respectable 11-11 record.
Very impressive. The Messiah women's lacrosse team opened their season at home on Saturday against the Royals of the University of Scranton. In a tough matchup, Grace Pettit got the Falcons on the board early with this highlight. Here she is, gets the ball from Natalie Mackery, circles around the outside of the goal, comes in, does a little nice jab step, turns around, and slots it into the bottom corner. We'll take another look at that here, a little bit slow-mo, a little icy-dicey jab here, turns around and slots it through the pipes. Well done to the Falcons. The Falcons lost a close one by a score of 10-9. Pettit and Annalise Keitel led the Falcons with 3 goals each as they look to bounce back next time at Gettysburg this Wednesday.
It was senior day for the men's basketball team as they faced off against the Eastern Eagles. Falcons kept it close all game thanks to great defensive plays. Here we see Eastern take the ball down to the post, and Caleb Thompson just blocks that ball out of existence. And I feel like we've seen Thompson on the Falcon 4 a couple times as he just loves to make highlight plays like that. Eastern was able to pull away from Messiah, though, and take the season finale. The Falcons finished the season with a disappointing 6-19 record and are not MAC playoff eligible, meaning that their season is officially done.
Quite unfortunate. But on Saturday, the Messiah women's basketball team looked to close out the regular season schedule with a win at home on Senior Day. The Falcons trailed for the majority of the game, but Chloe Milanese gave the Falcons life with this 3. We'll take a look at it here. Milanese does a little behind the back. Finds Sydney Hoffman at the wing. She finds Reese Harden. Harden finds Milanese in the corner. A little stop, pop, and shot. Swish. Excellent 3-point shot for Chloe Milanese. She'll take it again here. We'll take another look. She bends, extends the elbow, shoots, fires. That brings the Falcons within 1. The Falcons continued to roll late in the fourth, eventually winning by a score of 48-43 and securing the home court advantage for the MAC playoffs this week. They will be back in action at home for the semifinals of the MAC tournament on Wednesday at 7.
Yeah, the Messiah women's basketball team having yet another fantastic year, but their success on the court wasn't even the best thing to happen to them. Here's the incredible story of senior forward Liv Montero and her long journey discovering that value in life is found in so much more than just basketball in our first ever Falcon feature.
Sometimes the things we love most in life, such as sports, can be taken away from us in an instant.
You don't realize how much you miss something until it's taken away, and that was very true for me. I knew I loved the sport, but I didn't know how much I loved it and how much I needed it in my life.
For Liv Montero, she learned before she even stepped on a college court, she would probably be on the sideline watching her teammates play the game she loved for her entire college career.
To see them do the thing that they loved with the people that they loved, it was really hard for me, and it was a big struggle. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and I wouldn't want to have any other experience based off of where I am now. My name's Liv Montero, and this is my story.
In the fall of 2021, Liv's freshman year, she found out terrible news from doctors saying that she was missing a coronary artery on her heart. meaning she would be sidelined for her entire college career.
They don't really see people missing coronary arteries very often, and so with my heart specifically, I'm missing my left one, and so the left side of my heart was getting blood through little tiny, like, compensating arteries that didn't really do the full job of, like, an actual coronary artery.
The condition is very rare, so doctors didn't want to take any chances.
They decided that since they don't know the increased risk, they didn't want to even chance it because the chance of something happening was, they didn't really know, so they didn't want to risk it.
Even with Liv most likely never being able to play again, head coach Mike Miller still made the choice to keep Liv on the team.
Once we commit to somebody, we say we want you here, you're just part of this basketball family for life. So it didn't change how we approached it. In other words, she was here. The surprise would be that she wanted to be here and just be a part of the team for always knowing she wasn't going to be able to play.
Thankfully, my coach was grateful enough to let me stay on the team and be a part of the team and show up to practice and go on the team retreats and just be on the team, with the exception of I couldn't practice and I couldn't play.
For 3 years, Liv sat and watched from the sidelines until she heard unbelievable news from doctors that she was cleared to play.
So it was truly the Lord, and because nothing in my heart changed physically, I went to my doctor. I knew going into the appointment that I was going to ask again, just because I always do, and I knew it, like, all they could do was really say no again. And my argument included the fact that it was my senior year, and that it would be my last year playing. When I asked them, she didn't seem very convinced, and she was kind of running back all the reasons why she wasn't letting me play in the first place. But then in the last few minutes of the appointment, she was like, but I'll talk to my colleagues, I'll bring it up, and see what they say, and I'll get back to you.
Liv had to wait patiently for any type of response from her doctors.
They sent me an email saying that they were going to let me do it.
My reaction was laughter. Through people praying for the program and around the program, and including myself, we had a feeling in the spring that something was going to happen to our program.
If Liv was going to play the full season, there had to be multiple safety precautions implemented.
My AT had to clear me to play as well. There has to be someone trained to use an AED around all the time. And just, I'm on blood thinner, so, like, making sure I take that every day, and, like, I'm hydrated and all these things. And they said, as long as you do those things, we're gonna let you give it a go. And truly it was, like, a God thing, because, 3 years ago they said no.
With Liv now on the court, she played like she didn't miss a beat. She even worked her way to a starting role, meaning moments like this.
It's been absolutely amazing. A difficult transition for sure, but I also knew coming into the season that my perspective on the sport was going to change, and it was no longer going to be about me, but about the Lord, and I was going to play for Him and not for myself anymore. So knowing that, and knowing that all I could do was just put in 100% effort and do all that I could do to be successful, but then the Lord was going to take care of the rest.
When asked if he had ever seen a story this incredible in his 38 years at Messiah, here's what Coach Miller had to say.
No, not at all, because of the heartache, how it started, and how she had to persevere for 3 years. We've had a unique situation or two that a similar thing happened. Like, she's just worked really hard and overcoming, even just like her own self-chatterbox that you can't do this.
For Liv, all she can think about is how God always had a plan for her.
The way that He guided me here, the way that He knew that I needed to be around this team, and the way that He pointed me to Him through the hardships, It's just been truly amazing to look back on and see how he worked in those 3 years and how I didn't know he was doing it the last 3 years, but now looking back I see all that he's done for me and how incredible it was. That thing that you put your identity in gets taken away, then like at least you can fall back on the Lord and you have that relationship with him.
For YBTV Sports, I'm Caleb Kukin.
A story like that is so inspiring. Caleb, what were some of the major takeaways of getting to talk to Liv?
Well, I mean, for one, just her willingness to share her story. She was really excited to tell her story, and for good reason, too. And also just that main point that was, I guess, solidified throughout that, which is that we can't put our value in earthly things because those can be taken away. Just have our value in God. And that was kind of the main message that I took away from her, yeah.
Well, that was another great story told by Caleb. Well, that is all for tonight's Falcon Update, but don't go anywhere. Brandon Cruz will be hosting YB Tonight after this.
I can do this. I can do this. I can't do this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. You do not sound confident at all. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. Wait. What? How? What? You're... me? Oh, I'm you, but I'm not exactly you. I mean, I'm you with the added confidence to be able to host YB Tonight. Oh, okay, that's convenient. What did you just look at? Okay, I'm losing my mind. All right, I'm in a time crunch. Rapid fire. Do what you said you were gonna do. Teach me. Go. I can't teach you everything you need to know within the time frame that we're in. It took me months to learn, and you have like a minute. Just all right. Teach me the most important thing that you were ever taught when learning how to be a good YB Tonight host, okay? Go. Okay, fine. The most important thing when it comes to hosting YB Tonight, don't mess up. Seriously? It's 100% that simple. Just those 3 words. Don't mess up. If you don't mess up, you don't mess up. If that's all the help you're gonna be, then fine. I have to go now, so thank you, me. Okay. Why are you still there?
Good evening and welcome to YB Tonight, live from Hofstadter Chapel. I'm your host with the most, Brandon Cruz. We've got a heck of a show for you guys tonight. First, we'll sit down with Anthony Brown and Sarah Johnson, members of the Caribbean Student Association, to talk about the club and its role on campus. Then, I'll sit down with stand-up comedian Josh Patey to talk about his talents before he closes the night out with his latest set. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Good evening and welcome back to YB Tonight, live from Hofstadter Studio. I am here with the cabinet members of CSA, with Anthony Brown and Sarah Johnson. And just to start us off, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Doing good.
Yeah, and just to start it off, as I just mentioned, you guys are both members of the Caribbean Student Association cabinet. So can you just first take me through what your roles are and what it is exactly your roles do with the organization?
All right. I'm the student advocate, so I just go around just greeting new first years pretty much that are new to the campus, even though I'm a first year as well. But I just tell them just about our upcoming events that we have, and just tell them just sharing the love. Yeah.
I'm CSA's treasurer, so I manage the budget. In the beginning of the semester, it's more hectic because we have to propose the money that we want to receive from the board. But this semester, we got it halved, so now we have to manage shifting the money around to different places so we can make all the events the most exciting that we can do with the little amount of money that we have.
Yeah, that all does sound like a lot. That all does sound like a lot of work. So, secondly, take us through what a typical CSA meeting looks like.
Okay, so for a typical meeting, we'll start out with just talking about our weeks, what went well, what didn't go well. Last week, we like to incorporate God a lot, and so our president, Christopher Vasquez, he asked us about how things were going spiritually, and then normally he'll pray over us, and then we'll begin, and we'll talk about the most recent events that are coming up, and then future events. Later, we'll do surveys, we'll try to do brainstorming, and we'll talk about different roles that we have to fulfill, and that's essentially it.
And so for this question is for both of you. What have some of your favorite memories been at your time with the Caribbean Student Association?
I have to say one of my favorite memories was when I first joined the cabinet. We had like a CSA hangout. So we went to our last semester's president, Sarah Viel, and basically we just ate different cultural foods like plantains and like chicken. And then we had played this game. It was like a card game, and they were all like red. And so we choose these cards, and they have different questions. And by playing those questions, we really got to connect with each other. And I just felt like family. We all did, and it was just a great time. Favorite memory.
I would say my favorite CSA memory would be watching CSA perform at Gala last spring. I think they ended Gala. They were the last cabinet to perform their dance, and it was objectively the best dance of the entire Gala. But yeah, it was very exciting, and it was lovely to see all like my friends up there getting to dance and showcase Caribbean culture and stuff. So
That all does sound like a lot of fun. And I know what else is a lot of fun with CSA and with all the multicultural like organizations is the events. I've been to a lot of different multicultural events before, and I was just wondering, what are some events that CSA has thrown that you guys are like the most proud of?
I'd have to say last semester we threw Island Vibes. Everyone dressed all Caribbean, even different people did. And then in the middle of it, we had like, we just had people showing off their outfits, and it just was a lot to our cabinet. And not only that, we had like a 360 photo booth, different games, trivia, and just everyone got to be a part of our Caribbean culture, and it was just awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, I remember my freshman year, I went to Island Vibes, and I remember it being a really good time. Mm-hmm. So now can you just take me through, either of you can answer this, can you just take me through CSA's mission on campus?
Yeah, so we do have a mission statement. It's, as a Caribbean Student Association, we hope to foster, mentor, and educate the Messiah community to learn about different Caribbean nations, cultures, and practices, and then also to promote a safe, hospitable, and faith-driven atmosphere for the West Indian community here on campus.
All right, and just real quick, how can people get involved with CSA?
People get involved with CSA. So sometimes we throw like little members meetings. So me as a student advocate, I'll just tell like different first years or upperclassmen about our events just to share the love. Or through like our Messiah Instagram, messiah.csa, and that's pretty much how I show our events. Yeah.
So do you guys at CSA, do you have any upcoming events that you can let students know about?
Yeah, so we have Share the Love, which is this Saturday at the Loft, 2 to 4 p.m. Everyone is welcome and free to come, but then also Caribbean students here at Messiah, they can get like an extra goodie bag that has like some snacks and little like heart-related things. But it's showcasing Caribbean culture. We'll be playing games, but it's also like a Valentine's Day theme. So.
All right, and you just mentioned the Instagram account, right? Or did you not? Mm-hmm. So just where can we find CSA on social media?
On Instagram, messiah.csa.
Okay, and is there anything, do you think, that I missed at all?
No, Messiah is not only CSA, but all of our cabinets are for anyone to Messiah. Messiah is about diversity, and they let us provide diversity by just having all of these different cabinets. And diversity comes with unity, and with all these cabinets, they all represent unity, and so that just represents Messiah overall. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming on the show tonight. And after the break, that's all for this segment. After the break, I'll sit down with stand-up comedian Josh Patey. Stay tuned.
I am so grateful for the ways that Messiah has helped me see my career anew. Thanks to my education and this journey at Messiah, I was able to achieve my goal of being a professor. And so every day I get to share my experiences, my faith, and my education with students.
Higher education is in deep need of bright, caring, and capable students, people who desire to effect positive change, who lead out of their core values and their identity in Christ. And at Messiah's program, we take seriously the calling to equip students to do just that.
Our graduate program has two pathways that we focus on. One is a degree in higher education with concentration areas, and the other is the degree in intercollegiate athletic leadership.
The online courses in the program made it really flexible. As a working professional, it was easy to stay on top of my coursework. I feel like the online environment didn't detract any from that personal experience I was able to get in the program.
I didn't just want a degree that was a piece of paper and something to put next to my name. I wanted a degree program that was going to challenge me and push me to grow not only as a coach and possible future administrator, but also as a servant of Christ.
What greatly appealed to me was that I wouldn't feel like a number. And so going throughout the entire program, I just feel like I left knowing my classmates so well, I knew faculty members so well, and built connections that I will continue to use throughout my professional and personal life.
Hello and welcome back to YB Tonight. I'm here with stand-up comedian Josh Patey, although from the looks of it, we should call you a sit-down comedian. Okay. All right, so how are you doing tonight?
Great.
All right, so just kick us off, what first got you interested in stand-up?
So I'm a very natural like essay writer, and I just kind of combined that with comedy because I realized whenever I would be like texting my friends, I would be like grammatically editing the sentences to be funnier. And so I wrote this long letter to a friend, and I just was cracking myself up. And so I was like, hey, I could combine these things. And so I just tried it, and I was like, oh, that worked.
Yeah. So I know for comedians, there's always a thing of their first time performing, just usually not really going too well. So I was just wondering, what was it like for you, your first time performing stand-up in front of a crowd?
So my first time, like I've delivered speeches before, so that wasn't daunting to me. But yeah, there's something interesting about the process that I use because most comedians obviously memorize their material. I am not a professional comedian. If I were, I'm 99% sure that I would memorize the material. But by being less familiar with it, I actually find it funny in that moment. And so it kind of guides how I say it and makes me, I guess, a bit more lively. So I'm just kind of more focused in on the stuff that I'm talking about and kind of thinking that it's funny. And so I wasn't really nervous or anything. I just sat down, wrote a bunch of random dumb stuff that I came up with at 3 a.m. and said it.
Yeah, so performing, right? As a broadcasting major, I know doing YBTV, performing, it's a similar thing to stand-up. It's a performance, so it can be nerve-wracking at times. So do you do anything to like calm your nerves before?
I find that my nerves are subconscious. Like I just don't really feel anything like conscious, I guess. So like if I'm worried about, like if I think I'm nervous, then I'll just try like, I don't know, sitting on a bed or something to lower my heart rate, or playing Geometry Dash on my phone to make me more familiar with circumstances, I guess. I also just like try to watch funny stuff beforehand, stuff like that. I don't try to force anything. The best way is just to be natural about it, not force anything, or else it just won't work, period. But yeah, I try to, I mean, like, humor is all about kind of like easing up and not being so serious. So like I try to be as not serious as I can, which it's hard to do that without being serious. So it's kind of strike that balance. But yeah.
So let's say like you meet someone and they want to get into doing stand-up. What tips would you give to somebody who wants to get into doing stand-up comedy?
So I'd say it depends on their sense of humor. Again, I am not a professional, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But me personally, my sense of humor is very much one that, at least I hope, works well on paper. And just, writing it down and just exploring what's funny about a certain topic. So I would definitely just tell them to be natural about it and try to not force anything, but just to like really search for the humor and stuff. I find that I find funny that if you watch something or you see something happen and you think it's funny and you think it's stupid that you think it's funny, I think that in and of itself is fun. Like, get yourself to laugh at something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Just have fun with it.
All right. So, I love stand-up comedy. I really do love stand-up comedy. And I would also not really consider myself a professional, but I don't know how to say that without bragging. I think I'm a pretty funny guy. I'm going to test out a joke on you. Okay, so, all right. Here's a joke. What is the difference between a good and a bad joke timing?
This right now. No, I don't know.
The joke was, okay. So the joke was, what is the difference between a good and a bad joke timing? But I missed the timing. There's levels. Okay, never mind. All right. So do you have any upcoming performances?
They're having another coffee house this Sunday, but I don't think I'll be available to do that. I might though, because I have a lot of scrapped material, because simply for length. Because what my process for this last one was just like, at the end of each day, if I thought of something random and funny, just jot it down, and then come back to it the next day, jot down another random thing. And eventually I'll come back, look at it all, and think, what the heck did I write? And
yeah.
I was like, let's just pretend that this makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I'll do that, and then just organize it, connect it all, and at least this time, take a bunch of it out for sake of length. But yeah, I might have some extra material that I could just throw in and do, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a glimpse into your comedic mind. Right after the break, we'll be back with Josh's stand-up routine. Stay tuned.
When I visited Messiah, I loved the community here, and it made me feel really welcome, and the applied health science major was the perfect fit for what I wanted to study.
We're training students at Messiah to be leaders in the allied health professions. They're going to make an incredible impact on the health of others all over the world. Our students can choose concentrations in pre-professional, pre-physical and occupational therapy, pre-athletic training, and in exercise science.
I did an internship where I was able to shadow some strength and conditioning sessions with our men's soccer team, and that was really a meaningful experience for me to apply what I know.
All of the professors I had were really focused on integrating Christ into what we did in the classroom and reminded us of the way that God created us and how we can see that in other people as we go on from here.
And then we also teach them ways to interact with their future clients, patients, athletes in ways that not only are focused on writing effective prescription or rehabilitation, but really seek to support people in their journey, mind, body, and spirit.
In my senior seminar class, we have had the opportunity to work with a client as a conditioning consultant, and I've found this experience really valuable because I've been able to put into practice what I've learned into class into a practical situation.
Our students have a real advantage. In many cases, they've had additional training above and beyond what's necessary to gain entry into graduate programs.
So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that this program has offered me.
Welcome back to YB Tonight, where we're just seconds away from hearing comedian Josh Patey's stand-up routine. Josh, let's hear it.
Ever fall asleep to YouTube, but you leave autoplay on? Boy, is that an experience. You could just wake up to Barney playing the trumpet. One time I woke up to a 3-hour documentary about potatoes. Like, what the heck is this? But what's even worse is when it's the middle of the night and you hear the Bob the Builder theme song kick in. You've lost the remote and you're left to suffer 3 hours of singing and whatever else it is that Bob the Builder does. You'll have plenty of time to find out. Let me tell you about that guy. I'm scared of him. Listen, you don't understand. I think he wants to sue me. Like, one night, I could have sworn I saw him talking angrily with his lawyer with that frowny face he makes. But then he saw me and went right back to normal. That little twerp only wants one thing, and it's my money. I think he wants to flush me down the toilet he just built. This is why I took the time to set up anti-Bob the Builder equipment. The man doesn't stand a chance against my medieval trebuchet. I'd like to see him flush that down the toilet. I know that sounds a little extreme, but listen. I don't know about you, but I don't want my gravestone to say Josh was slain by Bob the Builder. Anyway, moral of the story, don't fall asleep with YouTube autoplay on. You'll end up buying a trebuchet. Actually, it's kind of fun to have your sleep interrupted by a rap battle between Benjamin Franklin and Squidward. But not Bob the Builder! I'm sick of that dude. And his yellowness. He's too stinking yellow. Like, the animators gotta chill with the yellow. Oh. Anyway, yeah, turn off autoplay. Unless you want to see an intense debate over the size of SpongeBob's feet at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's a thing! Also, I have an idea. If you're ever bored, bring a cheeseburger into a public restroom and see what happens. This is a horrible piece of advice that someone apparently followed last night in a Waffle House at 2 a.m. I didn't see him, but I walked in and there it was. A cheeseburger on the ground. Like, what has society come to? There wasn't even a single bite out of it. Just marvelous. What was that guy thinking? Like, I'll leave a floor cheeseburger here for the next guy. And Waffle House doesn't even serve cheeseburgers. So he must have purchased a cheeseburger elsewhere. Then he came in, made his way to the throne room to gently place it there, then leave. But I didn't go to Waffle House to be startled by a cheeseburger. Someone made that cheeseburger expecting it to be eaten. But no. This guy had something better in mind, apparently. And now whenever I see a cheeseburger in public, I'll be like, oh. At least it wasn't mac and cheese. I've been to a lot of bathrooms and a lot of Waffle Houses. I'm still not sure which one is worse. There was that time I threw a muffin out the window. Also, I don't know why I'm having a fork. This thing has not been washed in ages. Anyway, have a good rest of your night, and watch out for muffins.
Josh, that was absolutely fantabulous. Thank you so much for joining us again and sharing your comedic talents. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night, Messiah.